Tell us about that period when you called JAMB out. You said you were going to do it and you went to court shortly after. Did you receive any calls? What was that period like for you?
Of course. I mean, in Nigeria, whenever you want to do something that a lot of people want to threaten you and all those things. But
were you threatened at the time?
Of course, quite a lot.
What kind of threats?
Different people now, they will keep threatening you, this, that, this Igbo, this what, this and that. So they will threaten your life. I had a lot of those ones. But the point I was telling them now, it's really not about me. I'm not writing JAMB. Nobody in my family is writing JAMB. It's about the future of the coming generation. JAMB is a high-stake exam, and it affects the destinies of children. If we allow this, tomorrow it may be your own child. So look at it from the point of the society. Don't look at it from the point of me. So when I started giving these cases across for some people, they started seeing it differently. I had not writing JAMB. Nobody around me writes JAMB. You get my point? So it is important that these things are corrected so that we can set a clear pathway for a lot of children because it makes more sense when you work really hard for something and you write the exam and you succeed. So that has been what I have said. I've never changed it. And I think a lot of people started seeing it from that direction because it's about the society. Right now, I know that this year's JAMB is going to be a lot better because my case was, if I can discover this now, I've never really paid attention to JAMB until that year. That means what had happened over the years. Now, a lot of people have been suffering for things that they did not commit. I know sometimes our parents are so impatient. You never read, you are this, you are that. But the real sense is that you actually worked hard, you actually did so well. So I feel that let us stop it now. This is the best time for us to stop it.
With this kind of advocacy and what some would describe as heroism, one would be curious about how you manage your personal life as well, your family life. We don't even know much about your background. Could you tell us a little bit more?
I tried not to talk about anything about me. And, people don't see me. I hardly attend anything. Yes, I don't even share about anything about my personal life. It's only few people that know me that knows me well. Because, whenever you try to do some things, you also try to, as much as possible, to be a lot more private. So let me be the sacrificial lamb. Let me keep doing whatever I'm doing, but let me protect them as much as I can. That's why I barely talk about it.
All right. So we'll leave it at that and, just move to the political season that's imminent and INEC. Judging by what you did with JAMB, lots of Nigerians are still not confident in the reforms. They feel like there's still loopholes that could affect their votes at the elections. Do you have any interest whatsoever in politics? And do you have anything up your sleeves for INEC?
Honestly, I have zero interest in politics, but I have strong interest in technology. The INEC system is one of the easiest systems to build. If they want it to work seamlessly, it will work. If they don't want it to work, it's basically on their own reasons because they want to rig the election, right? So there's absolutely no reason why it should not be 100% digital. So if they want to introduce any form of manual system, it's clear that there will be a lot of fraud and rigging. So based on those things, I know what can work. If I have the privilege to be the INEC chairman, and I have the privilege to make these rules, it has to be 100% and nobody can change it.
But are you inspired in any capacity to do something about the system? Because you did something about JAMB, and we still have INEC, and of course IREV, the beavers. These are the concerns of Nigerians. So are you thinking about it? Because right now it appears as if Nigerians don't have a say any longer.
Honestly, I'm actually thinking about it in this direction for the first time now. I've never really thought about it. I always, Nigerian politics is too dirty. It's too violent. And honestly, it's not something I want to even be interested. That's why if you notice, whenever I talk, I support Peter Obi, not because of politics. I support him because I identify with his values, right? That is all. But every other thing, I just don't want to. Right? I can talk about you badly today. The next morning, I'm saying that you are awesome. When I came into Enugu, I saw Enugu was looking really beautiful. This is beyond what I've seen. I said, okay, I think this guy is doing something great. Before I came, I've seen some errors, water and this and that. I will still lambast him. The next morning, I'm saying you are doing really well. So it's really not about the individual. It's about, so for now, maybe I'll think about it more and see if there is any way, maybe through the international community or through the US anyway, that we can be able to get a saving grace. But I have no plan, I have no idea now. But let's see what happens tomorrow.
Do you think INEC truly even cares if anybody's going to checkmate them? Do you think you're now like flying without wings?
They don't have to care. If US for any reason become very interested, they'll be forced to care.
Okay, now that'll take us into the genocide area. So let's leave it at that. So Educare.
Yeah.
Many people hear about it. It's short, it's easy to remember, but they don't really understand what it means and what you do. Could you walk us through exactly in simple terms what Educare does?
Educare is not like your biscuit or your restaurant. Educare is like a niche-based business. It's for education.
And it's not a spa either, because
yes.
you could Educare.
Yeah, it's not a spa. So Educare basically there's what we call ERP, that's Enterprise Resource Planning. It's a software that powers, it's like an operating system for schools. Admissions, finance, HR, reports, medicals, every single thing. If you ever use like an SAP, so Educare is like an SAP for schools. That's the one that engine that powers schools. So that's what at the core we do. Then the public one that a lot of students use every day is exams at Educare School. That's what they use to prepare for their high-stake exams, JAM, WAEC, SAT, ACT, and some of these exams. So basically, its core is education. So it's not something that if you are not, maybe by the time you want to maybe go do a PhD in Harvard, maybe you probably may need Educare for GRE, right? Yeah, or for GMAT or something. But if it's not that, it's not something you may need until you need it. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do.
Okay, that's great. So if you were not an education expert, if you're not involved in Educare, what would you rather do?
If I'm not involved in Educare, I'll probably be involved in another industry at large scale. Either I'm big in fintech, because at the early stages, we practically started together. Flutter, Paystack, and a lot of us, we started together almost at the same time, 2014, right? So I'll probably be an industrial and I'll be doing so well there.
That's right. So now speaking to Enugu State, because that's this program really tries to assess issues in the state.
Yeah.
We have the smart schools.
Okay.
We have the hackathon, which we know you attended and you are an active member. You played an active role in it. Yeah. We have the ongoing Enugu Tech Fest.
Yes.
A lot of things are coming up that's signal education, signal progress. I would like to gain your individual takes on each of these developments in Enugu. From the smart school system, you walk around the street, you see the pupils in their new school uniforms being manufactured here in the state as well. You know, how do you feel about the entire development?
You know, one thing you know about me is that I'll always be honest.
That's right.
Yes, you may dislike me for that, but I'll always be honest. In terms of the hackathon, the one I attended, honestly, I really love it. I love the fact that a lot of students can express themselves, either in hard tech or in soft tech, right? And I saw quite some brilliant ideas. There's some that I'm also going to support. I really love it. For the Enugu Tech Fest, I feel that the good thing is that there's an activity, but I feel that it's more of talk and very little of actions, right? Because I attended the last year's own, and I think the impact level is really low, to be very honest. But it's good, at least there's an activity, right? So, but in terms for the smart school is ideally should be a brilliant idea. But I feel that smart school should be a secondary thing. For instance, we have 260 smart schools. In that word that you are putting a smart school, there are probably like a concentration of like 8,000 children. And a smart school can take a maximum of 800 children. So you know what it means? So if 800 children get into the smart school, what happens to the 8,000 children, right? Now, and those 8,000 children are already in schools. And you're already budgeting 1.3 billion for one smart school. That's the last budget I know. Why not use just a 500 million and renovate these other schools? And then take time and build your smart school the way it is. Because some of the things I'm seeing does not make sense. They are not the smart school that I've dreamt about. I don't know if you get me. So that even if you say for the smart school, let it be the smartest children, that are going to come into the smart schools because it's small, 800 children. That makes more sense. Now, these other schools are completely ignored. And then you are building your smart school since the time you started until today, the smart schools are not even complete yet. How many are funded? We don't even have up to 15 that are functional. So the truth of the matter is that ideally it should have been a fantastic idea, but it could have made more sense if the current, because the people that designed these our schools, look at these schools, actually, I don't know if you really understand the history about school education. Schools are meant to be very big, are meant to be very comfortable and relaxing and beautiful. And these schools that you see that are designed by, at the olden times, they have big sports facilities, they are big, they are beautiful. If you can put in a little bit more resources and renovate them, and then take time and build the proper standard smart school that you want to do, honestly, it could have even made a lot more sense. At the end of the day, we are doing an Olympiad now. I want to see if a smart school child will win. If he wins, that closes.
Are the smart children also involved in the
Everybody's
Olympiad?
free.
So what's been trending on X has been the pictures that you posted showing the ongoing mock examinations for the Southeast Maths Olympiad.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through that, what necessitated it, and how the smart students are going to be part of it?
Yeah, every time I sleep and wake up, I try to envision what the region looks like in 10 years. I want to have a region that is so prosperous at a scale never have seen before, right? And one of the things we must take very seriously is maths and sciences. And for us, let's do maths. Let's start with maths. And that is the Olympiad maths. Olympiad maths are difficult. They also require critical thinking. So what it means is that for any child who has a privilege of preparing for an Olympiad maths, the opportunity have already made the child 100 times sharper than ever before. So that is why we said, you know what, let's make this free, open for every child. We are telling your school, don't give us those 3 children that win all prizes. Let every single child have an opportunity to participate. We engaged everyone for the entire Southeast. We have like 10,990 children participate. We did our mock. We said it must be 100% CBT because one thing I told them is I always stand for integrity. I don't want, because there are reasons where a child can fail. If you do it manually, even the teacher marking may be feeling sleepy or a child's script may be lost. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. One child is important like every other child. Let's make it computer-based so that every child will come, right, and then our system does instant grading. And even you as a state coordinator or even a local government coordinator, you don't even have access to the question bank. So let's do it that way. Why did we do mock? We said, you know what, let children familiarize with the assessment so that on Saturday, there will be no excuses. So every single child will participate. And after the Saturday, we'll now do the live TV show with Afia TV. At that point, we are now going to see how it looks.
And of course, that's on the 11th of March, which you're all anticipating.
No, that is on the 7th of March.
On the 7th of March?
Yes.
Why did I think it's 7th?
That's on the Saturday.
On the Saturday, that's the 7th of March, in fact. So we're going to be beaming that, and hopefully we see, large turnout, and we see all of the people that are going to be doing very well.
Yes.
So still have with me the CEO of Educare, Mr. Alex Onyia, still speaking on the forthcoming, great, of course, competition here in the Southeast region, the Southeast Maths Olympiad, come March 7th, where we're going to see how good the Southeast students can do with math and who is going to be number 1. So speaking of support,
I'm already seeing a very interesting pattern.
Mm-hmm. What's the pattern?
When I noticed, I was reviewing the assessments, I noticed that Imo State, they're actually not joking. Imo and Anambra. I could see that. Let's see what it turns out to be. But from this mock alone, they are really on top. Okay,
so that's Imo. Then what about Enugu State as well?
Imo, Anambra. I think even Afia is ahead of Enugu.
Mm. Yes. So where do you think the challenge lies?
Not yet. Let's do the real exam.
Okay, so at that point, then we'll know. So because the outcome of this Olympiad would have a huge impact on the image of the different states, because if your state is number 1, it looks good. Yeah. It looks good on you. So what kind of support are you receiving from the Southeast leadership?
Honestly, zero supports, but there's no disruption. For me, I think that's all I needed. So when we wrote to all the commissioners, they all approved.